My name's Lauren McKenna. I've been teaching for 26 years, and I've always been in PE, or as we call it, bodily kinesthetics. And I've just always loved sports. I grew up in a sports-oriented family. My dad is in the Amateur Baseball Hall of Fame. I played every sport under the sun: basketball, field hockey. I traveled on the United States Midwestern soccer team. I played volleyball and softball in college. And then I just loved it so much that I knew that's what I wanted to do for my career. I'm the BK, bodily kinesthetic teacher at New City School. New City is in St. Louis, Missouri. It's in the central west end of St. Louis, Missouri. I double majored on K through 12 for physical education, and you had to be proficient in like 12 different sports, and you had to have all the different fitness courses, and you had to do all of the health courses and everything that comes along with those different degrees. But it's actually a physical education degrees, and you have a lot of anatomy, kinesiology that goes right along with it. I'm like one semester away from being a nurse. There's 7, 8 different multiple intelligences, and bodily kinesthetic is one of them. And my role in the building, number one, is to provide bodily kinesthetic activity, sports, games, exercise, fitness to the kids that I teach. We've gone to 4 times a week with PE instead of 1 time a week or 2 times a week. It's not to say that some of the kids don't come twice a week, but the majority of my kids that I see come 4 times a week for at least 25 to 35 minutes at a crack. I'm really the place where the kids can let go other than the playground. But for me, it's a structured letting go, teaching them how to play a game, teaching them how to interact with other children, teaching them to be a good teammate, how to cooperate, have responsibility for other people, having tolerance of other children who have lesser abilities or those who have better abilities, because they all learn from each other. Number one, they got to get the blood going, wake up the body. They need to release some of the stress and the tension that these little kids have, whether they know it or not. Most of the kids nowadays are overscheduled, and they go from one thing to another. There's no time to just relax, play outside, climb a tree, whatever it is, that spontaneous play that we probably had as children growing up. Playing kick the can and step ball and all those games that the kids are like, what are those? Well, how do you play that? Where I grew up, it was you came in when the street lights came on. And there is none of that anymore. Number one, for safety of children, you don't know what's around you, your environment, because it's so different than the way we grew up. Number two, all the kids weren't outside. We were outside. They're not outside nowadays. They're inside. Where? Probably in front of a computer, or sitting playing video games, or watching TV. Well, that's not the way it was when we grew up. All the kids and families took responsibility for all the other kids in the neighborhood. And you'd get on your bike and you'd ride miles. You would just get on your bike and say, we're going to the park. Okay. And you came home when it was lunchtime, and then you ate dinner, and then you came in after that, took a bath, went to bed, and got up and did the same stuff outside all the time. You might have been swimming in somebody's backyard or playing in the alley or down the street. Everybody did those sorts of things where I grew up. Riding the bikes, swimming, that was all part of what we did every single day. Most of the time, the kids that are active now are going to be active as adults, and you're going to find their kids being active. The kids that get rid of some of the stress levels and everything else, they actually do better in academic areas. It takes them a little longer to calm down, to come back and cool down first. But then by the time they're ready, it's like things flow a little better. Their brain is clicking, instead of coming in and just sitting. That's why a lot of teachers at New City School will do, activities in their room, next to their chair or their desk, or in a small space, to get the kids moving and get the blood flowing, so that they're a little more alert and a little more energized, because kids come in tired. Kids come in pooped because they go to bed too late. They stay up watching TV, or they're out too late with their parents, or whatever. And that's not just at New City, it's a lot of schools. You have to realize that every kid is different, and they have limitations. Well, you have to adapt and teach them that they can do this, because I can't and I won't and I'm tired and I'm bored shouldn't be words that they use in their vocabulary. It should be, well, I'll try. Let me see if I can do it. Why don't we do it together? Let's try it together. Let's do it together and see what happens. Parent involvement is huge. If you see a parent who's active and riding bikes or, swimming or jogging or walking a lot, normally their kids are along with them. To me, the top exercise that any kid can do is swimming, because you're using every muscle group in your body. If you don't, of course, have a pool or access to a pool or whatever, anybody can walk. Anybody can probably get a jump rope. Jump rope is so good because it's cardiovascular. It burns calories the whole time you're doing it. And there's a lot of things you can do with a rope that kids don't realize, that I don't want to just jump. Well, there's so many things you can teach them to do with the rope. Make it rhythms, make it songs with it, that it makes it fun. Make it fun. Make it a game out of it. Give them lots of kudos, lots of praise. You did good. Good effort. It's not that they're going to be perfect by any means, but the idea is to get them to try. If they don't try, you'll never get them going anyway. So trying is first. Because everybody's different. You're going to have really good kids that, are really good athletes, but maybe not very good attitudes. And then you're going to have the kid who really, really tries, but is not as good. Well, you know what? I'll take all these kids, because they're the ones that, they want you to help them. They want you to nurture them. These guys here can be mentors to these guys over here. Pair them up together. Let this one show the one who maybe doesn't have it quite yet. Let them work together, because then this kid is getting involved just as much, and you're giving them like kudos, like, come on, you can help this, Jimmy or Johnny or Sally. Show them what you can do so that they can do it just as well as you. So it's kind of like a mentoring program with kids, and I do it all the time in gym, in PE and BK. I do it all the time. Give them a partner that they can, come on, I know you can do this. Well, next thing you know, this one's just as encouraging as I would be. So it's awesome. It's cool. It's like you're building little mentors all the way along, It's fun. To be in an organized sport or a select team or whatever, you do teach any kind of team. It teaches you to be a good team member. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. I also think you get social skills. You learn to be cooperative. You learn to have teamwork. Sometimes, though, I think you can burn the kids out if it's too much, too early, too soon. Too many teams, too many practices. We're playing on 3 teams and we got 6 practices during the week. And then besides that, we have swimming and piano and violin and all these other things that go right along with it. That's where we get into this overscheduled. We are overscheduling the children. There's no spontaneous play. So that tends to cut down on their creativity, their imagination. You don't want to start with like aggressive, exercise programs until their growth plates are closed. That's pretty specific. But on the other hand, when kids play the same sport instead of playing multiple sports, they tend to use the same muscles and the same bones and everything else, and they do the same twists and they do the same turns, and what happens is there's more and more injuries that are occurring to knees, to ankles, to shoulders, because of the repetitive motions that are being done over and over and over again. The more you're involved, I think just mentally healthy, you're going to feel better, your blood's going to be moving, you're going to feel better, you're going to feel good in order to deal with other things that come along your path throughout the day.